We just happen to be born black.
That is your job as a politician.
How do we not have not only a black candidate statewide, but how do we not have anybody from Houston or Dallas?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. You are on again one more time with your friend, Christian Alexander, a.k.a. Pan, Big Pan, Peasy, if you know me really well. And I'm here with my main man, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
Mr. Brandon Cofield.
Yeah, man. Finally made it, man. I done did enough to warrant being invited on. That's it.
You know, I appreciate the fact that, you know, anybody would think about my little old platform like that.
Hey,
You know, like, but
but
welcome
it's
to the
yours.
show. It is mine. It is mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Welcome to the show, dog. You know what I'm saying? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to everybody tuning in. You know what I'm saying? You know how I go. If you got something to say, put it in the chat. I might holler back. You know, we might have a little spirited discussion. As y'all can see, my attire is a little different today. You know, I got the nice pink accent going on. Shout out to my homegirl, Miss Michelle Williams. She had a fundraiser today. Michelle is running in. Let me make sure I get this right.
Yeah, state ledge.
She's running to be the state representative in House District 127. She's running against Charles Cunningham. Charles is a Black Republican. I'd like to put both of those words together. Charles is a Black Republican. He is supported by Greg Abbott. Greg is actually coming down here to do a fundraiser for Charles, which means Michelle is doing her motherfucking thing. That's what that means. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because Cunningham's district, I mean, a lot of these districts are crazy, you know, the way that they're drawn. But I mean, he's north, he's on top of north of Dutton. I mean, he kind of picks up another part of those suburbs that wraps over a little ways. But, you know, I jokingly say I've been thinking about Abbott's, you know, I don't know if you saw his whole speech about, man, look, this is not what Black people want, right?
You saw him be asked that question about cross-dressing by African Americans. The fact of the matter is his beliefs about transgender ideology are contrary to where the vast majority of the Black community is in Texas and probably across the entire country. Tallarico has a problem with the Black community that goes back to the time when there was the divide between Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. But also that divide is fundamental ideological because the Black community doesn't support these transgender ideas. The Black community is heavily connected to faith and religion, and they are against all of his ideas about sanctuary city policies and welcoming people from coming across the border illegally. They say, what about our community? We've been here all along. Why are you giving free things away to these people crossing the border illegally?
He's speaking on behalf of Black folks. And I'm like, maybe he talked to Brother Cunningham. I don't know how he got the inside.
Somebody Black gave Greg Abbott every Black talking point. Every oh yeah, we because when I was listening to him, I'm like, damn, who put him on game?
Right. Look, I'm talking with a stamp of approval. They're like, Greg, this is what you got to say. Greg. And they still might not fool with you, but they're going to be like, so you've been listening.
Yeah, because that's how I felt. I was like, oh shit, Greg might know something.
Right. Greg said, I'm not going to help her do nothing about it, but I just want you to know that I
want you to know I'm aware of y'all's plight. Greg is definitely hip to the game.
And that's a wild boy.
Boy, you know, I tell people all the time, and people get so upset with me when I say this, right? Yeah. But though he is a Republican, Greg Abbott is probably one of the best politicians I've ever seen in my life.
Interesting.
Arguably. As far as if politics was a gladiator sport, Greg Abbott is slaying dragons. No bullshit. And you got to give props where they're due, right? He is doing what he's supposed to be doing for his party. And he's making it happen. So, that's the hope. That's being a politician, is to be able to collaborate with other people, businesses, community leaders, or whatever, and make sure that you progress your party's agenda. And can you say that he hasn't done that?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
You know what's so interesting is I can't say he's followed his marching orders. Full stop. Now,
bro, like,
has he done what's in the best interest of Texas? Has he changed positions on what he thought was best? Either the first thing was best and he learned, or he realized that the dollars weren't following it. So, I mean, I don't know if I give him full on the most genuine politician, but I guess, in theory, that's the name of the game. You don't need to be genuine.
Definitely.
You just need to be.
Yeah, because definitely not the most genuine, not the most holistic. He's not the populist candidate by no means whatsoever. But if you are talking about somebody that is going to rip through the halls of any state capital and get whatever it is you want done, that boy doing that.
And it was masterfully done. Even just this whole deal, I wouldn't say he's speaking for Black people, but him taking this strong position about, like, when you have like a little bit of a divide, a little bit of a space, Greg was like, let me go ahead and stick something in there and try to pry this thing open just a little bit more in case y'all didn't know. Now, mind you, if you're talking, I don't know if you saw when he was saying like, oh, Black people been like, hey, man, we've been here. What about us? Now, mind you, Greg, you're rolling back any DI, any initiative you're supporting, getting rid of,
that's what I'm saying. Like, the audacity, bro, like the audacity of Greg Abbott to get on national television and advocate for Black voices by being a proponent of taking things from Black people, bro, is, if you are a young aspiring politician, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you can learn good things from bad people. Okay? And if anybody got a spin game, I'm talking about that boy Greg. I was at the back. We're going to get more into this, but I was at the Road to Blue Goes Through Black event.
Yeah.
I was being interviewed by somebody at the Chronicle. And everything I said to that lady was what Greg Abbott said on TV.
Yeah.
Everything I said out my Black mouth. I didn't call Greg Abbott to tell him that.
Yeah.
So many Black Texans across the state, right? Across the state heard that. And our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ who are on the edge with the Jesus, God is non-binary thing, they heard that and latched on real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was smart of him to do. I think one of the things that's going to be I think it's easy to see through it, but you also can't unhear what you heard, right?
You can't.
And so if someone kind of validates, even if you're getting validated by an otherwise villain, you know what I mean, in your story, but you're like, so wait a minute. So people do hear, or people do, they acknowledge. I just think it's wild to go up there and have the audacity to make these assertions as if you have been doing things to improve the lives of Black folks for the last 18 years or however many long. Yeah.
With a straight face. With a straight face.
Do you think that I comfortably can say it doesn't bother him now? Do you think that he wouldn't maybe be able to sleep as well that night, like just bold-faced lying to folks, or like, double crossing people? Or do you think?
I think that is a character trait of his. I think that's just who he is. I think that, right? Most people, right? The American people don't believe the politicians anyway, right?
Yeah.
So sorry for all my friends who are in elected office, but if you're in elected office, you know that just because of the weight of your office, people probably don't believe shit you're saying because they feel like
distrust.
You know what I mean? And it's healthy and it is warranted. Right? Like, people, especially in the Black community, our communities haven't gotten much. We've gotten a lot of promises. We gonna do this. We gonna do that. We might be able to do this. Hold on for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Bear with us. Pray and wait.
Hold on. Right.
The Lord said we got to suffer first. We didn't heard all of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, with millennials really starting to outnumber, what is the older generation?
Right now, it's the silent generation, and then the boomers.
So decided we outnumber them, right? So we outnumber them. And we're going to soon be the masses.
Not in the polls, but
but I'm saying about but as time goes on, you know what I'm saying? Some of us are going to move on to the upper room. And young and old, but as science and data goes, those who have been here fewer days will last longer days.
Like they say, man, more days behind me than ahead of me. At some point,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me make sure I ain't in trouble.
All right, well, who? Right, that's the question.
Oh, okay. No, I ain't in trouble. It's all right. But so I think that with us, beginning to outnumber that generation, I think that the way that things have been going is going to shift. I've been saying this for a long time, and the way that we do politics is going to definitely have to change. I think this is a good segue into the town hall. I know you wasn't able to make it, but I was there on your behalf. Steadfast in my blackness. You know
what I mean? Pulled out the mauve and let them know. Hey, ain't nothing sweet.
The mauve only happens in special occasions. And for those of you who don't know, I am a huge proponent of the color pink, as you can see. I love the color pink. I think it's a wonderful hue. And if you are a man that is confident enough to do it, it definitely adds a wonderful pop of color to the wardrobe. It's going to catch an eye, and especially if you got on something fire that costs about $400 to $500.
Just a little something.
Just a little.
Something that you can just put on and it just falls. And it's just.
Just a little 1-2. Somebody just going to turn their head and notice the color. That's what the mauve, though. Whenever I'm trying to make a little statement, I put a little pink on. Shout out to Cameron.
Yeah, man. Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah, for inspiring me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I need to buy another one, but I used to walk around in an all pink, hoodie set all the time. It's bright pink.
Pink Panther. What's
I don't know, man. I just think it is a player color. I think that, you know what I'm saying, if you feel good about yourself, you should wear things that make you feel good. And the color pink makes me feel good. And I think it looks good on my skin tone. My mother told me that I'm a rather handsome young man, and my mama ain't never told me no lie.
Look, never.
Not
you ain't
never.
never did nothing wrong either, so I get it. I get it.
But the mauve, I normally don't wear suits. On the podcast, but recently people have been telling me, starting at the town hall, they were like, "Man, I'm really getting used to seeing you in a suit, but seeing you in not a suit is strange," which is strange for me. But growth, right? You know what I'm saying?
Man, there's a season for everything.
I guess this might be suit season. It might be. This handkerchief keep popping up on me. It's like,
man, look, when it's done well. The suit is. Yeah, you see some of the guys. I was watching the World Cup, and I think the final they kept cutting over to Spain's. I don't know who the folks were, but everybody, the classic European, just a black, white, skinny tie, black. I was like,
the skinny tie
y'all boys
is a vibe. The John Wick, the European John Wick suit, it is a vibe. It looks
better when you're a small person. This camera might make me look slimmer. Somebody look like I can put one on. We got some shedding to do.
Might need a little wider tie.
Man, look.
Yeah, a little wider tie. No, Vernon has. Shout out to that boy Vern. Vern has offered to take me suit shopping multiple times. Yeah, hey, you need it. Hey, we can go. We can go. He
Vern gonna send me the big and tall. I don't even know if it's still.
We're the same height.
He gonna send me over. You said, bro, you go over there. I'll be in the clearance section because they couldn't get rid of them green gator shoes in the size 15. That's my space.
And I will put that on with something pink.
I don't disbelieve you.
Yeah, I would with some pink. Well, I had one of the older sisters at the convention told me I was cleaner than a bill of health.
Look,
that's what she told me. My mother would have been proud. My mother would have. She would have been proud. She'd have been proud. But I do want to go. So boom, right? We at the Kingdom Builders.
Mm-hmm.
I came in with his car, right? We and Herm Clark. We on the south side. James Tallarico has a town hall.
Absolutely.
We are there. James is honestly filibustering a lot of questions. It was taking him like 6 minutes to answer each question. Like it was taking him so long to answer the questions that he only really got through maybe like 5. And
Was he
before
word vomiting, or was it I'm trying to explain this in such, or like I'm trying to tiptoe, because you can respond quickly, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So was he kind of being just like politician? Was he trying to stall out the clock? Or do you think it was a case of, I just got a lot to say to respond to this because you asked me a 5-part question about, do I care about Black people? And so it just took a long time to answer.
So the cynic in me wants to say that he was filibustering so that he wouldn't have to answer tougher questions. The empath in me is going to say that he may have been nervous. Because he was nervous, he was saying more than probably what needed to be said.
It should be a natural response. I mean, if you are a white man, and my understanding is the flyer was a little bit confusing. I think a lot of us thought it was a Black folks town hall, but the flyer didn't necessarily say like Black only.
So it was advertised to us on the statewide Black Leaders Call. It was advertised to us that this would be for Black people.
Right.
When the flyer went up, it did not say that. It just said that James Tallarico was having a town hall in Houston, which did come off to be a little misleading.
You know what's interesting though, at least to me, because my understanding the audience was a lot of an amalgamation of folks, but it's almost interesting thinking about like, why don't we take that approach or have that audacity for any event where we're just like, nah, this is not necessarily like we're taking over it, but did it need to be a special Black town hall, even though it wasn't marketed as such, for us to come in with the confidence or courage to be able to go in and ask the questions about Black folks? Does that make sense? Like, why was it like, do we need permission to be able to have our moment, or why has that not happened before this, in your opinion, at least?
I think that with the way that Black people have been interacting with the Democratic Party, I think that an invitation, not that like we are being given permission, but you need to invite me into your home, right? So that I can get to know you. So I think it's that way, right? Like, because in this instance, the Black community has the leverage, right? Like, we're just going to speak plainly. Like, we have the leverage, right? Because the whole, the hoopla around this is we need to get the Black community on board, because if we don't get the Black community on board, then we could lose statewide, and that would be a travesty, right? So I think that normally, right, with the amount of distrust that that is pervasive in the Black community around politics and government, and these people over promising and under delivering year in and year out, I think that just the broader Black community is disinterested in participating, and those of us who are interested in participating are interested in participating only when we feel as though it is going to be more of an equal footing. Like, so there are those who are like, we got to do this because there's nothing else for us to do. And then there are those of us who are like, let's let this shit burn down. Right.
It's just so, at least for me, obviously I'm a man of faith. So I believe heavily in the idea of, walking in your favor. I just feel like you will hear all the time, anywhere you go, the base of the Democratic Party is going to be Black folks, right? That is the one group that even if Black men slipped up this time, it's still over 80% of Black men. That's a high clip. 8 out of 10 folks, 9 out of 10 Black women, almost 100%. But it's a combination to me of the Democratic Party doesn't treat us like that, and we don't treat ourselves like that, if that makes sense. Like, nobody else moves in a block in the same way. And you see the swing voters, and it's like, all right, well, we kind of know white women are going to do, but maybe 50-50, right? Or we kind of know what white men are going to do, maybe 50-50. It, ironically enough, or as disorganized and without leadership, I would argue that we move in a block, but we don't act like we move in a block. You know, like when you, let's say if you, I don't know, you're your neighborhood growing up and, you know, or let's say you're a football player, right? So, you know, you kind of walk around the high school. If some other random person gets in a fight with you or something, like, hey, football team's behind me, and you walk in that space like, bro, try it if you want to, right? Yeah. I feel like we don't walk with that, bro. Me and my whole crew of this chunk of voters that you can't live without. And so that's what I'm saying, going into spaces, this shouldn't be like it's almost like we get treated as like, all right, we're that extra 1 or 2% that we got to figure out how to, you know, kind of appease. So let's have a special little meet and greet for them. It's like, no, y'all need to come and try to get your coalition and build around us, because we're the only constant, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I just think that because we don't participate enough anymore, like, you know, like as a unit, it's hard to like swing that kind of power around. And it's only really now that like so many Black people are saying, I'm going to be like, I'd much rather not, right? Like there's too many people saying, I would much rather not right now, which is ringing an alarm, which, you know, points to the fact that like the Democratic Party have been listening to Black people for the last, I don't know, however many 10 years. I mean, like 10, 15, 20 years, right? Like, because we can even go back to you not being Black if you didn't vote for Joe Biden, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Which was, to me, deeply offensive. You know,
I didn't even know that was a thing, but I mean,
it was definitely a thing. Like, it was like you know what I mean? Like, it was definitely a thing. So it is these miscues of like, hey, right? Like, we know y'all over here, but we also know, like, as politicians, we know that all the grandmas, I had somebody say that to me the other day. The people who vote, they older.
For sure.
Right?
Way higher clip. They punch way above their weight. Yep. So here's my question. So you're political, I don't even know the right terms, because I know y'all got different things. I'm gonna say consultant, strategist, you know, savant, whatever words you want to use, but you're involved in politics, right? In the sense that you have access, you can look at data or something like that and figure out, all right, who is a higher propensity voter. So if you're working for any Democrat campaign, when you're looking at, let's just say across the board, you're like, all right, this Black person, do we need to lock in that Black person first and foremost? Because we know if they vote, they are going to vote blue. And instead of taking that approach to it, it's like, well, let's get a little bit of everybody else that may be 50-50. They might be libertarian. They might be on the fence. I just think that the science is clear which way we generally lean. I'm not saying that folks should do better and that people shouldn't have a choice, but the science is generally clear, and like the data science, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's just so interesting to me. I don't know who are the other consultants and the strategists that are like, so we know we gotta lock up Black folks, but we also know we don't have to pay attention to Black folks. Like, I don't know how the two can coexist.
I mean, well, I think that it's more just a blatant disregard for the constituency because of the level, the way that we show up. So it's not. It's just we know that we are gonna do this. They know that we're gonna do that. So you know what I'm saying, like, I heard Jolanda say it the other day. You know, like, and you know, women say it a lot, right? In dating, why would you buy the cow if you get the milk for free?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so we've been, you know what I mean? Like, the Democratic Party been able to come over, lay up, eat fruit snacks, leave their PlayStation over there, not pay no bills, you know what I'm saying? Do whatever it is, right? Like, you know, text your phone 1,000 times, call you out your name, treat you bad. Democratic Party can do whatever they want to do. Democratic Party is Jody from Baby Boy.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, at least in my opinion, if the Republicans ever, especially on a national level, put money behind it, they ever just found like a regular Black person, like just like not like a crazed former football person or whatever, these yahoos that ran in North Carolina. If they ever just put forth effort, and I'm assuming it's just because they just don't know Black people or many Black people in the extent to be able to find, because there's a lot of us with a lot of talent. If they just try just a little bit to elevate one decent one, they might be able to kind of at least put like a little crack. And then if you get another, but instead you got these people that are doing, I mean, their last good one was it Daniel Cameron, I think, the guy up in like Louisville, but then he says what he says about the Breonna Taylor deal, and it's like, you lost all credibility with the Black community. All you got to do is just get a decent, I think if they ever realize that, Democrats would have to try again.
I think that the ideology of the Republican Party is so far to the right, like, and it's so anti-Black. Even if you do like get somebody who on the surface seems like a regular Black person, like they're only 2-3 weeks away from saying something that lets you know that they're Uncle Ruckus.
I think it's a common, right, usually. Unfortunately for them, I guess, but I guess for us, it's good. I think it's one of those things where it's either you got one part of, I think there's a good chunk that's like paralyzed between we don't want to upset our super racist base, and we also don't know how to talk to Black folks. So we're just going to live in our kind of oblivious world where we may or may not run into them. We're going to mind our business over here. They stay over there. And it's just, I don't know, it's an interesting tactic. You got one that's kind of abusive and don't be doing nothing, and you got one that's just act like Black people don't really exist, and they're like.
I was watching Cancel Court, right? They had a Cancel Court episode about should they cancel the Democratic Party.
Oh, I didn't even see the episode. I saw clips.
Yes, funny. It was hilarious. And it was CP versus Ron T. I think his name was Ron T. And CP and Ron was saying that, which was a bit graphic, but that the Republican is that man who is going to touch you without asking.
Jesus.
At least
what we gonna do.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, you know what I mean? But at least the Democratic Party may ask you for permission before they try to kiss you. Right? Yeah. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, you may not want either one of them to kiss you, but he's saying at least one of them will ask. Like, now, the bar is pretty low.
Unfortunately.
Like, that's pretty low. And CP was like, and I get Ron's point. Ron is like, we don't have anywhere else to go. There's nowhere else for her to put our votes, right? Because independents, give me 1 minute because Spike is tripping.
Oh, man, that's the first time I heard him.
Yeah, he distracted me.
I'm all for it, man. Free Spike, man. Yeah, man. Free Spike, brother.
Yeah, he down there. He hear me up here talking. He like, let me out. No, I'm not letting you out so you can eat Harper's toys.
Tisk.
But like, because independents don't win. They don't ever win anything. So, where do we go with our vote? And he's just saying, and I think Killer Mike said it, and they crucified Killer Mike online on Threads. But Killer Mike was like, we should just sit out one election, right, and just let them suffer and let them see what's happening. And part of me is like, yeah, and then part of me is like, no. Like, yeah. Like, because
it's crazy. Man, who's the last, this is going to sound more insensitive or whatever, but when I look at the national Black figures, especially the men in politics, besides you have kind of President Obama kind of coming seemingly out of nowhere and was like, oh, you're actually cool, reasonable, intelligent, smart, family. When I look at the other alternatives of like, who would I want to come to run for, Senate, Congress, it gets pretty bleak pretty quick when I'm like, oh, you could inspire Black folks in other places to show up to vote and get excited.
It's pretty bleak because whether anybody wants to admit it or not, Black people want to follow the cool person. Sure. Like, you can't be lame. You can't come off as lame. You can't come off as like, not like put together and have some kind of swag about you and be a leader in the Black community. Look at the pulpit, right? Pastors usually be pretty swaggy. You know what I mean? They can sing or something. They got some kind of talent, something that sets them apart. Right?
Booker's starting to get it.
I'm not even gonna lie. Corey don't got it.
Oh no, I mean I hear. I'm just saying that's the best we got.
And that's like, don't get me wrong, right? Senator Booker,
Yeah. But it's
ooh,
not. He's not
brother.
gonna reach everybody.
But nah, dog. Like he not, you know what I mean? Like Senator Warnock, he cool, but it's not like, that's not inspiring. That's not inspiring boys. Like we would say, like if we just outside chilling, that's not really inspiring boys to want to come in and jump down, right? Like, they're not no Detroit Red, right? They're not,
No. And haven't put their foot in places maybe they shouldn't have been, haven't done this or don't owe nothing. I wonder if it's, people talk about like, I mean, golf or I don't know, soccer, or really a lot of these sports, the barrier to entry is money oftentimes. And then for politics, if you don't like you love politics, like I love politics, but if you don't love politics, the only way that you really end up in politics is if you come from someone else that got a lot of bread or somebody else that has bread. You got to have the free time to be able to volunteer, right? If you are like the 90% of Black folks that are like, bro, I'm just trying to make it, mind my business, make money, make sure my family's good. When you have extra time, like you said, you just came from a fundraiser. What average everyday Black person can do that unless they really like politics? And so then the question is that our issue? Is the barrier too high? Because we'll also let you know we don't know you, so we're not gonna vote for you. Now, if your heart's in the right place, but you haven't been out here every weekend, working with the community. So trying to find like that balance of you want somebody that's available but also accessible. But if you're accessible, too accessible, nah, man, he ain't got no life. But it's a sweet spot that I don't know how
I think that you just got to be able to just inspire people, like, right? Because politicians, the way I explain it to people is politicians are like rappers, right? Well-spoken rappers. They're representatives. If you're a really good politician, you don't really have to read. You don't got to read for real. You don't got to do shit. Like, you got to be a really good organizer of people. Like, you have to be able to be a CEO, right? You need to have a keen eye for talent, and you need to be able to know what your vision is so that you can articulate your vision to other people so they can carry that out for you. That is your job as a politician, is to be a visionary and to have the people who work in your office and the community members around you, they be stewards of this vision that y'all have a shared interest in, right? So if you cannot, like, that's why there's so many bad ones, right? Because bad ideas, like good ideas are a dime a dozen. Everybody got a bad idea, right? And there are a lot more people with money and time who got bad ideas than there are people who don't have money and time, they got good ideas.
Right. And that's I mean, part of the problem. And I think I don't know how to fix it. Maybe we'll figure it out tonight and folks will replay this and be like, man, this is the greatest podcast episode of all time.
I think
we gotta do something different.
I mean, something different right now is like the DSA thing, right? That's something different right now, right? Like, because, this ain't even in my notes, but, they are pitching AOC to be the Democratic nominee for president. Now,
man, I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. How I feel when it comes to y'all over there. Do y'all over there? Because that works for y'all over there. So the same way I feel like I feel for people in other places and spaces, but what works there isn't. So I think Democrats here are probably more akin to Minnesota's the Farm and Labor Party is going to resonate more than Democrat social. Just the word choice. Now, it doesn't mean I got anything against the policies or what they got going on over there. The problem is when you got this nationwide deal, and this is something, man, if I ever thought about like running nationwide, and I'm just sitting here looking at all these yahoos from all over this country that got different variations of what it means to be a Democrat in their own, it's mind numbing. I feel like we gotta, what's the classic, conquer your street, conquer your block, conquer your neighborhood. We gotta figure out how to do this in Texas, because I think trying to bring something from New York, where I don't know how big AOC's district is in like actual square blocks, but I guarantee you it's probably smaller than like Third Ward, Texas, because of population distance. It's just such a different place. It's easier to say, like if you say look, we're gonna get this public transit going and it's gonna be free for bus riders. But you're gonna be like, bro, I don't ride the bus, I don't care about that.
I mean, touche. I don't ride the bus, but I did ride the bus. So this is what I think.
Yeah.
So I do think that, right, like, because I'm a moderate, right? I'm a self-proclaimed moderate, right? But I do believe in some progressive, quite a few progressive things, right? Like, I am a pro-working class guy, right?
Honestly, if you just support any Black initiative, that is progress. So
right?
that makes you progressive in of itself. Yeah.
What I think about AOC, as far as AOC running for president, I don't think that because right now they say AOC is leading Gavin Newsom and I think John Ossoff in the polls to become the Democratic nominee for president. And I'm gonna say it plainly: they weren't gonna elect Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
And now we are going to put up another woman who is not in the actual Democratic Party. She's a Democratic socialist. So that means that we got to convince all of these Black people to get down with the Democrat. And this politics is paying. So we're talking about Blackness, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm with the Boricuas. I'm with him. My little brother's half Puerto Rican. So I'm a support just off of the strength, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I love it. But
is she even Puerto Rican? But anyway, go ahead.
Puerto Rican. Is she Puerto Rican? Let's see.
I don't know.
Let's see.
I just wanted a point of order.
Yeah, she's Puerto Rican. Her mother was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and her father is from the Bronx. I do know this because my biological father is from the Bronx. Spent a lot of time in the Bronx whenever I go to New York. Yeah. And there's a very large Puerto Rican, I think Dominican population in the Bronx. And I go up there and I eat tremendously all the time. It's one of my happy places. Yes, it's a phenomenal place. But she's Puerto Rican.
I didn't mean to throw up your group. I was just making sure we weren't doing sometimes what we always do. We'll pick one or two things. And be
no, for sure. I'm not.
Hair, so she gotta be. Like,
yeah. But okay, so, the thing is, right? Like, and I just want us to be honest in the Democratic Party about the schisms that exist between the races and the classes in America, right? Especially in our party. So if all of these people, we couldn't get, certain numbers of Black men, we couldn't get certain numbers of Black women, we couldn't get certain numbers of white men and white women to vote for this Black woman, this Black and Indian woman. I don't know, like something, I don't know what the other part of her is, something Far Eastern, right? Like now we are going to lean towards this Puerto Rican woman who is a Democratic socialist, and she's going to be at the top of our ticket for president. We might be looking at J.D. Vance being the president because I do not see white people doing what we wanted them to do with Kamala, with AOC.
I think that, so one, I agree. I think if that ended up being the case, that would be something.
Dog, they already are up in arms about Mom Dami. And the thing is, right, and my partner Ryan, right, we go back and forth about this all the time because Ryan is like, he's trying to argue for what is most fiscally responsible, right? Yeah, and he's like, the thing is that, taking a loan is kicking the can down the road, right? Which is true. But cities, government, states, they do that, right? They go and they get these bonds and they take these loans so they can fix the things right now. And they do kick the can down the road. That's how we govern. But what Mondami is doing is showing that we can fix people's lives in real time, right? Instead of praying and waiting, you know what I'm saying? The Lord is saying, he who don't work, don't eat. So we finna get it to work, and so everybody can eat right now today.
And we're at least gonna find out either it works or it don't work. But at least we tried something.
At least we tried something. And with being, right, like with New York being New York and him having the microphone that he has, right, because it's the media capital of the world, it's the financial capital of the world. So he get all this time and opportunity to project his vision, right? But now as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, because it's kind of imploding from the inside, right? Because, you know what I'm saying, who knows what Ken Martin got on his mind. Like he was just in Minnesota sitting down with some black people, and one of the chair of whatever caucus, whatever, they had to make a statement about like him being there and it not being about what it was, and it's just always some mess. And there's always some confusion, and it's just not right. You know what I mean?
Here's my thing. I get what you're saying, but like you said, we talking about black folks.
We're talking about black folks. All politics with pain.
Our biggest and habitually missed opportunity is we have the means to self-promote and influence others, right? We influence other people better than anybody else influences other people. I think now this is not to take away from President Obama, but I think the excitement and the energy that black folks got because we all got behind somebody, I think is contagious. It spreads through pop culture, other people that want to be like black people. And our inability to do that for behind somebody else or to be intentional, even on a local level. I think that if we were to say, all right, black Houstonians, we are all rocking with this person. We're not about to have people behind them stabbing them back or undercutting and who did this and they're not in this camp or this camp. I think other facets, other civic clubs, other Democratic clubs are going to be like, all right, cool. This is what the black people want. Then we can either roll with that because he got plenty of momentum. We don't ever do that. And so it's like we have the ability to self-promote. We got the ability to influence. And then we say, all right, well, we're just going to shoot each other down. And then we're going to land with whatever other person from some other group that has way less influence and clout in a city like Houston. And we're going to let them ride into the sunset because we can't get along. And then it's like, well, black folks, y'all got to support the one them in the race. But I'm like, how come when I look at statewide, I'm like, how do we not have not only a black candidate statewide, but how do we not have anybody from Houston or Dallas?
That is a great question.
Because when you look at population, when you look at influence, when you look at money, you look at superstar, when you look at everything, not like no one's coming from Austin, but there's no reason for Austin, which is dubbed Austin, keep Austin weird. That's who leads. Come on now. Like, what are we doing?
Yes. Yes.
And we are our biggest enemy, at least here in Houston. I can't talk for the folks up north, but we are our biggest. How?
I think that we so splintered, right? Like going back to the cancel court with the Democratic Party, it is just that so many people are right. Like
we are hypercritical. You're not coming out of if it's like a gauntlet, you're not coming out of the black subdivision unless you are beat black and blue. And then
this is true. That's true, but we only have we gonna talk about it. We got city council elections coming up, right? Yeah. But as far as in Houston, it took forever for us to be able to get black seats, for us to be able to have black city council districts, right? When they had to switch the whole system for black people to actually be represented in the city from the way that it was long time ago.
We all got behind a candidate or two, even if you have a Barbara Jordan versus Curtis Graves, and it was like way more progressive, way more, two icons, but it wasn't 15 people in a race because we all just feel like today's our day and we gonna just.
But we don't have especially not here in Houston, right? Like we don't have those. We don't have Miss Boone gone, right? Yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like as far as them OGs, right? Miss Beulah Shepherd, all them ladies who controlled those areas.
Do you think Black Girls Who Brunch, Miss July, Shay, H-Bad, The Defender 4 times, this show, every other black influencing or pop, any sort of group, any poor person, if they were all to be like, could you, let's just say they had a big, dark, cabal, secretive meeting, like, hey, we're going to see if we can play Puppet Master. Do you think they could get somebody elected in Houston? I firmly believe so.
Yeah, for sure. I think.
So why not?
Well, because I don't think outside of right now, nobody has given us the idea to create a cabal. Hey, y'all, we should create a cabal. I'm just
crazy.
I know. But the thing is, so Vernon and I were talking about this the other day. The way that votes are gathered now is different. right? Especially because people aren't like the difference between our generation and Miss Shepherd and Miss Boone's generation is we meet in a virtual space, and the silent generation they still meet in person together, right? But like, and also as far as the black people are concerned, like there are less of us at church than it is of them, right? Like that's just the so they have at least 4 times a month, not including Bible study, they're together.
Bruh.
Like we don't
they're locked, they're more in sync. I get it, but we still
like,
all somehow vote the same way.
Right, but that's because they are driving the boat though. Like they are the majority of the vote. Like, we doing our field plan right now for HBAC. Like that, like the people, like those people, the people that we're talking about right now, they are getting less touches. Why they getting less touches? Because they are for sure going to be at McDonald's at 6 a.m. drinking coffee.
Using the hell out the internet. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like they gonna be in there. So like the more touches, which is the people who like, the people who will influence the new cabal, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like social media influencers, the Shay, you be seeing Shay online, Shay get them going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's grabbing all of these people's, everybody sitting down, printing out their social media metrics, finding out what all their followers are, and then being able to put them in a bucket. But we have not done that. And that kind of idea of like, I would call it like a digital, like a millennial and Gen Z digital takeover is not something that has been uttered until now on Politics with Pan, where you can find me every Thursday at 7:00 talking to some young, bright, influential people who are looking to make America, Houston, and Harris County a better place. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that. Nice little plug.
You know what I mean?
It's there for the taking. I see zero barriers because the same people, we in the same places. I'm not cool with all of them. Like I don't have anything against them. I just like they're not going to answer the phone if I call necessarily.
I mean, they might now. They might now.
Because I'm just like, y'all, what our options are only but so many. And what do we have to lose if we elevate somebody and then they're bad and we're like, okay, cool. Or we can be with the same people we don't like, or the random Yahoo that gets in there that doesn't win anyway. Like in my mind, it's not too far-fetched to put all of our resources, because again, we like momentum. If you don't vote, but you're like, hey man, I'm seeing this guy, look, he's over here at the nickel bar, he doing this here, he with the city, he with the
nickel bar. Did Charleston White get shot? Were they shooting in your hood yesterday?
Shot at.
He got shot at. So he did get shot at.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm still trying to figure out why I have even heard that name in my life. Like he's otherwise irrelevant to me as a person, just because I don't know who he is. And when people are like, oh, he's famous because he like either snitched on somebody, then he's on a show. I'm like, why am I hearing about this? This is
it's
so
crazy
hyper local.
You don't know who Charleston White is. Like,
but why do people know who he is? Like what
I know who Charleston White is. He's not productive. Well, okay, so let me stop. He that's like saying, right, okay, he is productive. Now, he
in his space, I'm sure.
He is in spaces where he is an advocate. You know what I'm saying? He does do public facing work. His persona online is one that is very coonish.
Is he a mover of the people for progress?
I think he incites riots, but he also does say some very insightful things. Like a broken clock is wrong twice a day, right? So, I think that he could do some good if that energy is channeled in the right way, because he does have a significant influence. He seems to be knowledgeable about the judicial system here in Texas and be like a staunch advocate for Black people being able to get due process and being able to have like their fair day in court. So like things like that, like I'm not gonna shit on the brother, because
I don't know him from Adam.
Right, but there are some bro got some undesirable traits, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Is he from Texas?
He from Fort Worth. He's from Fort Worth. And Candace Matthews brought him down here to help her campaign for against Darnell, which is crazy because, man, why are you out here propping up the Republican white dude? She like, oh, well, he always called me when I, you know what I'm saying? Well, go get to meet Darnell, Candace. As one of the, like,
That's a
as
whole
one of the
separate.
more, like, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it, as one of the more influential Black women in the region.
Absolutely.
Whether your influence is for good or it is for bad. Like, as a Negro, as an influential Negro in the Houston, greater Harris County region, like, you as Black Panther, as Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, as black, it is extremely disheartening and disappointing to see you advocating for this white man over this Black man who is Darnell is highly qualified to be able to do his job. And if I'm not mistaken, he is a former judge and he knows exactly what needs to be done in that office. And for her to be able to take Charleston White to the nickel while he is beefing with the Prince family, which is another, like, right, like, just culturally, like, like, this is Houston. Like, Fifth Ward, Prince, that neighborhood and that name, they're synonymous.
It's a strategy, but I'm sure it got plenty of clicks and likes, and I'm sure they got paid off of it. My question to you is, and maybe that's me being cynical. Maybe people that make a living off of the internet are doing things to be more genuine than I assume they are.
I don't think they're doing it to be genuine.
Hey, you know me. I try to give folks at least a little wiggle room to. My thing is, I think is there a responsibility? Do you feel a responsibility for the well-being of all Black folks? And I think that question, I mean, I hope I know the answer to that. But if you see a Black person on the street, are they thinking self first or like the greater good for Black folks first? And I think once we figure out whether or not the majority of us still believe that there's a responsibility, before there was a responsibility, because we couldn't go nowhere anyway. It was segregated. Rising tide lifts all boats because we all in this place. We can't cross this street because that gets into their lane. We can't drink this water fountain. It was a little bit easier because we didn't have a choice. And I think it's tough, and it's something that we talk about on the radio show. At the end of the day, if a Black man, if let's say there's a one Black man that goes on a killing spree. So let's say you get out there and you just start robbing houses, right? That's going to be on the news, and it's going to be like, man, Black men, they be robbing, because there is no distinction. Even if you get caught, the story's going to be like Black man, and then maybe in small print, but really Black man steals. So there's a responsibility that whether we want to or not, we have been robbed of the ability to be individuals, and we continue to be robbed of the ability to be an individual. So either we need to lean into the idea that as much as we want to be able to say, hey, we can do it all on our own and rise to the top by ourselves. Like, we have this, in my opinion, connection to the rest of Black America, Black Houstonians, however you want to look at it. But I think so many people are like, man, I just got to get my money, or I just got to do this. And that's how you end up with different social media characters and personas that are kind of like, I'm doing me. This is me by myself. But I'm like, the impact on us. Are you thinking about that?
I think so to answer your question, yes, I do think that I feel like I have a responsibility to, like, all Black people to be able to help, right? But that's the Aquarius in me. Two, I feel like, whatever the mission that God gave me for life involves that, right? Like, that's my personal thing. But I think that the way that our communities have unfolded, right, after integration and things like that, that us leaning on each other went away, right? Like, because the people who can prop up the community, those who have economic viability, they don't live here anymore. They all left. So, like, there's no one, right? Like, long time ago, like the numbers lady would take care of the block. Mr. Joe who owned the plumber, like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody worked in unison, whether they were whether they were making money legally or illegally. Everybody,
you had a doctorate degree, master's degree, you came back and you were teaching.
You all live around each other, right? I said this last week when I was talking about, because, when I'm talking about, I'm talking about racism, I'm talking about systemic racism, I'm talking about how the government gave white people welfare so that they can, uplift the middle class. They excluded us from a lot of those programs and stuff like that. Right?
GI Bill, etc.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like white people didn't come up with ideas like Kinko's or Starbucks and just come up. That's not how that happened, right? Like
these
at a
land
point in
grant
time,
programs.
you didn't even need a degree to become a stockbroker, right? Like Mr. Jeffrey just worked on Wall Street and he
There
went and
wasn't a law degree, my guy.
you know what I mean?
You
Like
didn't have to go to law school to be a lawyer. It
you
wasn't
just
until
had
you
to
started
be
to have
white.
yeah.
You just had to be white. You didn't have to do any of these things. To do any of these things, the prerequisite was be white and be a man. And at a certain point, they were like, you can be okay. Sometimes some of these things you can be white and be a woman. But like the prerequisite for all of this stuff was be white and be a man. So like now that like, you got to take an LSAT, you got to take an MCAT, you got to do all of this. But people's grandmamas and grandfathers, they were just ushered into these jobs. They were just able to go onto the floor of the stock room and be able to buy penny stocks and do all that other kind of stuff.
And folks, there are people that work hard. I don't want to take away from all.
Fair.
But there is absolutely, if you take a population level approach, there are clear distinctions and differences that it's always interesting when people, let's just say you're one of those people that want to, you say, look, the past is the past. I have nothing to do with that, whatever it is. And that's something that, I mean, if I'm in the ledge, because some of it's not what you say, is how you say it. Everything is like, you know what? I'm just going to say, I want to make this law for people that live in an area that has the highest amount of illegal dumping, power lines that are hanging low, areas that have an overpopulation of gas stations and too many fast food. And I mean, we know who that's going to affect and target, but I'm not saying that I'm only helping this group or this group, right? If that's the way that it has to be done, because if they want to play games, we can play games too. I just think that, man, there's so much talent and creativity within us, and we're not self-promoting ourselves. We're thinking, I don't know, man. You already know this stuff gets me going, so I can go all night.
I mean, I think that the level of self-promotion comes when, like you said earlier, we got the time and the resources to be able to participate. Yeah. Like otherwise, everybody is like just trying to get it. Right? You know what I mean? They're trying to get to the washateria. They're trying to get on the bus. They're trying to make sure they got enough gas. They're trying to make sure their transmission don't slip. You know what I mean? Like that's the reality for, right? Like, and I don't even know, like, right? Because it goes so far, right? Because the nuance in blackness, right? Like, American-born black people, immigrant-born black people, Afro-Latino black people, like, right, you got to wade all of them waters to be able to even get to the issue of the things that, like, right, because all the black people not fighting for the same thing.
But see, so I agree with that. My litmus test is always, if I see you're across the street, a block away, there's not too many things that you can see first and foremost besides the color of my skin. And I don't care if you Jamaican, if you Ghanaian, if you from Guyana, if you from Mississippi, if you from wherever you're from. And again, that's that level of connectedness / that responsibility that should come with the fact that there's a certain point until you get closer in to see, like, oh no, actually that person is this, and this. But if you put every black man, whether Robert Smith, the billionaire, or me, or you, all in a hoodie walking down the street from a distance, the perception is not going to be any different. It's not like we all walk a little bit different. So, okay, that's a safe black person, or that's an educated one. But like, that's the self-awareness that is lacking, I'd almost argue.
But I don't think that I think that that's why I say even the nuance in the blackness, right? Because I, as an American-born Negro, may see you and recognize that you're an American-born Negro, and I may have a different affinity from you than if I see you and then you speak to me and I notice that you might be from like Jamaica, or you might be from like Grenada, and then there's something between us that disconnects us, right? Like that you have like a connection to this faraway place that's not here. And when we are advocating for our rights, right, like whether it's at a state, local, or federal level, like depending on like our experience in getting here and growing up and language barriers and all that other kind of stuff, the advocacy is going to be different. And if we cannot in our legislation say plainly who we are making laws for, then the people that is directly intended for is going to get overlooked, like just like how we don't have the civil rights bill anymore, right? Because like, and I get it because Cory Booker, right, before Trump came out with the Trump accounts, Cory Booker and Ayanna Pressley introduced the baby bonds, and they were specifically to address the racial disparity between whites and blacks, and they put whites and blacks and racial disparity in those words in the legislation, and the Republicans shut it down because it essentially reads to them that we are making this for everybody but white people, and it's like it's not fair. White people should be able to get some too. White people have always been able to get some.
They've moved the goalposts. They have moved the goalposts.
Until we can, and this is my thing with black people, and like I was having this conversation today at the barbershop, and this is no slight to anybody else that is brown, but like the American Negro, I don't know what to call us specifically, right? Because black lumps,
I
black,
say black, that's more expansive.
But black so expansive now, like it's not what it was when James Brown said, "I'm black and I'm proud." It's not that no more, dog. Like it's not that. It's like because put like this, bro. Put like this. Blackness is for everybody in the diaspora who got skin who look like ours. Right. Like it's for everybody. But like Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Bayard Rustin, John Lewis, Clyde, everybody, bro.
Roy Wilson's the whole gang.
Like what I'm saying, like they are Negroes, right? Like
so here's my Negroes. Question. Based off of all right, it's a numbers game. At the end of the day, it's all about numbers. How do we benefit at all by making our tent smaller? If we have an opportunity, because they're already drawing the line in the sense when Trump is like black jobs, he's not saying American Negro jobs, however you want to describe. He's not saying, this type of black person. He's saying anybody with too much melanin, this is where y'all supposed to be. So if they're drawing that line, why are we drawing a separate little subline just to be able to? Now we have fewer numbers. Like, how does that benefit
I don't think
us?
that isolating is the thing. I think that having honest conversations about the needs of the different subgroups in the diaspora is what needs to happen. But until we have those conversations about the specific needs of the subgroups in the diaspora, like we're going to continue to be at war because those of us who are immigrant born, who came here from other places, get the benefits that other immigrants get, and black people who are from here aren't afforded those benefits. And then now there's a clash, right? Because why can't I have that, right? And if we can't have any legislation that speaks directly to like the specific race of black people that was born of chattel slavery, right? Like that's the best way to
we are like American as apple pie and hot dogs. This is unique. Right. We don't exist nowhere else.
Right. But the legislation, the laws need the only way for like the plight of the black person, being as American as apple pie, for that to be lifted is for the government to recognize us as an individual group of people because we don't have a specific homeland to call home or to advocate for us on NATO. So we need to be recognized as our own specific subgroup and not be lumped in with everybody else in the diaspora. And when there is legislation created, it needs to directly address us as a people and the plight in which the communities in which we live in. Because the fact of the matter is, when our brothers and sisters come here from around the world, they normally go and become white adjacent. They do not come and integrate into the hood with us.
Or just associate themselves with the negative that is being pushed and forced on the narrative of us. I agree with that. My thing is, once upon a time, when it was, if I'm walking to a fountain, it's either you white or you not.
True.
You're white or you're black. It didn't matter if you came from wherever, one or the other. Now that line was being drawn by the majority at that time and by society and by the government at that time. Now, I guarantee you there was plenty of divisions. There's tons of divisions between Northern blacks, free blacks, fair-skinned blacks, Mississippi black folks. Just tons of separation. And I guarantee at the time there'll be people to be like, man, y'all weren't really going through it like we were going through it. Y'all different, this, that, and their educational attainment. So we've had schisms, but we didn't have a choice to be like, I'm a little bit better because like you had white only and then not white. And I think at our peak of power, it was because there was a forced collectivity. And that's the thing that I almost think is, I think, a bit of a trap that white folks, when it comes to at least this current administration, is almost like you guys are accidentally about to reawaken by drawing these lines in the sand. This black jobs, or this is hurting white people, or we need to support white men. And you're saying everybody else that's not. But if you make us have to be together, I think that that's way more powerful. I get what you're saying. There's plenty of injustice and there's a lot of stuff that's going to change. I just know that they're not going to at some point be like, either we've been guilted enough into it or we're going to have a conscience enough to say, you know what, we do need to make right. I feel like we will have to get into that space, whether by force, which is going to come through numbers, and then make those changes. I think we missed the opportunity to codify the Voting Rights Act when President Obama was there and we had the supermajority, or when Biden was there. That's on us not forcing everyone else to do it, because that affects us just as much as it affects, person coming over from wherever country or wherever area. So I get what you're saying. I'm with it, because there's the fact that we still get looked down on even by our own brethren from other places, other parts of Black diaspora.
Like, that's terrible. The thing.
It's the worst.
That's the thing. And like, as far as the social dynamic, like as we're organizing for resources, because the difference between now and then is like now, though we got a little bit more freedom, right?
Yeah.
But also, like with the way that things have gone, right? Like people who are not from here, when they come here, they assimilate into the more popular culture, which is closer to whiteness. If you're an immigrant person, you usually go to a majority white school, things like that. You get more and more and more ingrained into whatever the majority society is trying to dictate the culture to be, right? And when you do, have that moment of like, damn, they don't see me equal, right? Like, this not like, it's not what I thought it was. Let me come around here. My thing is, wherever it is you're from, understand what's going on with the American blacks. And if you are elevated to a point where you are making legislation, that you make it a point to write in that law, make it specific to our subgroup of people so that you can curb our suffering. Like, because unless we can get legislation that actually addresses us as a people, like, that's the only way that we are going to be able to get uplift. They wrote laws for Chinese people. They wrote laws for white people. They wrote laws for Jewish people. They write laws for everybody. But we can't get one. You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying
somebody is, come from another country and something happens to them, and their country talks to our country and is pissed off about it, don't let it be a dignitary. They will put something on the books right then, right there.
But see, that in my opinion, that gets into like a class fight, right? Because if someone's coming from another country, they're well-to-do, they're higher class, they probably don't even associate with the rest of the people from whatever country they're in. So like, we don't have any other, like the best and brightest of us are also mixed in with the not best and brightest of us, right? We have whatever there is all here. Other places, folks can come over, like you said, you can be royalty, you can be a dignitary, you can be some oil tycoon. And so you're going to bring that in your family, your nieces, nephews, and they're all going to think, all right, who are the people in the same socioeconomic class? And then also, there's going to be racism mixed in there too. But that ends up being like a class fight. The problem is, and this is the same thing, I think, and this is going to be more insensitive than it's meaning to be, but because the times have changed and the tactics have changed, it's kind of, they moved the goalpost in that they moved it to where it should have always been. Mm-hmm. So the way that the laws are supposed to be written, basically they're using the different laws about equality and not being able to favor any population or anything like that. they're finally enforcing those laws now that it would possibly benefit Black folks or some other minorities. But like that's what the law has always been. So like, yeah, you had all these different policies and laws that favored other specific groups, but like it was never something that was like very in particular just for it was in particular for one group, but now they're like, hey, nobody can be treated differently, but we're gonna act like we're all starting from the same level. And I think that's the thing. If you think about what I'd say Israel's got going on in the Middle East right now, if this was 50 years, 100 years ago, it would just be like, look, man, survival. Whoever survives. They take that land, right? That was just the time frame when it came to how you conquer areas or colonize. Today, you can't do that. So Israel's probably like, wait, what? We always been able to just take stuff, and the rest of the world's like, no, you can't do that anymore because that's against the law now. And so that's what I think is the same thing that's happening now, where it's like, I want that legislation to be very specific and particular and have different impact on different populations. But the way that they now decided to actually enforce the Constitution as how it was written, that's what's had the difference. So
yeah,
man, my bad, y'all.
Oh no, it's all right. It's all right. You know, kids. I mean, I think with all of that nuance, right? Because I mean, this is what's happening in the Democratic Party with the Black people. Like this is just one of the symptoms of the neglect of the wants and needs of the Black constituency, right? Like this is the foam of the beer coming to the top, right?
Yeah, I just don't think they're ever going to give it to us. I don't think it's going to change no time soon. I don't think there's enough dollars that are going to come out of the Black community to be able to specifically have an impact just on Black folks, unless we kind of rise up and then do what we do best, which is influence the world. Like we are the coolest, most influential folks. We walk in a room, not saying people like naturally cower, but they're gonna be like, what's going, like the same fears that they've always perpetuated on us. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna take my girl? Are they gonna beat me up?
The Negroes here.
Look, walk in the room and say, this is what we're doing, and here's how the policy is gonna happen. And we're going to do it according to the Constitution now that y'all finally want to follow the rules and the laws, but we're going to word it in a way that we know is going to impact. So if I got to say this law is going to affect every person east of Maine and, north of it, if that's how we have to word it, because that's how y'all want to do it, fine. They do it all the time in the ledge. They want to target just Harris County. They're going to be like, all right, counties with over a certain number of people. And it's like, we know who you're targeting. Like but instead of it being like just this one group or we're just targeting this thing, we're going to say, you just got to frame it. The way that I look at it is our best bet is getting the biggest amount of numbers we got, and then making sure that as we get there, we walk in, like I said, that favor that we have. And again, whether it's playing into their fears, if I got to walk in and be like, like, wait, whatever it is, if I got to make you buck to be able to do that, then that's what we're going to do. But doing what we've been doing, I mean, we're gonna still be here. We're gonna be old sitting on rocking chairs doing this.
Doing what we've been doing is not going to get us anywhere, and I completely agree. But I also think that a lot of what we have been doing is placating to those around us and trying to make everybody feel comfortable, right? And that is right. Going back to the Tallarico thing, they said up there in Dallas, they set the tone, right? They told them like, we gonna chill, right? We not gonna, like, we didn't do that. There was none of that. Like, in Harris County now. Christian got up there and gave a very riveting speech. Lauren got up there and did a phenomenal job herself. But there was no, hey, y'all act a specific kind of way, and they didn't ask us for any money. I don't know why they felt like they should ask them Black people for some money at that point in time, but maybe Dallas has a different relationship with the Tallarico campaign than Houston does. Our relationship is a little divisive, right? I'm happy that they have gotten it together. They got some ebony and ivory going on up there, but we need to be able to get that going on down here. But nonetheless, right, I think that as things are taking shape, right, we about to go through this general, then next year we about to go into re-electing our city leadership, right? Like Black Houston is going to get a complete and total makeover when it comes to who is going to be in charge in these different districts around the city. And if we want to see our communities change in a way that is immediate and tangible, then we have to, right, whether it is the way that you were saying, we get these people to be able to put these ordinances and these legislations together in a way that, you know what I'm saying, that will combat what's coming from the right, or we find people who are going to be bold, who are going to say, I'm going to write it in like this, and we going to see what happens. But either way, like, the people need to be fed, and
absolutely.
the machine needs to be bled, because motherfuckers is tired. We want to buy houses. We want to, we want to do all of the stuff that all of the old people got to do when they was 35.
Man, we just want America's promise, like everybody
You know
else,
what I
man.
mean? Like, but they sold it to all of their buddies, and now they is riding around. Now they returning their RVs because gas is high.
But they're scary. That's what I'm saying. Like, just using the things. If you're scared of me, let me not necessarily give you something to be scared of, because like, oh, we're gonna be more violent. There's just so many things, man. I think I believe so much in us, and I'm like, all right, y'all. At what point are we gonna remember who we are? And not on. I mean, I guess I'd be like, the whole kings and queens. Like, sure, but like, but we got the juice. We've had the juice. I mean, if you think, man, Frederick Douglass, that is a freed slave that's over here moving the masses and speaking and talking to. I mean, like. Mary McLeod Bethune in the White House, like the things that we are capable of and the impact that we can have if we so choose, and looking out for because I'm sure Frederick Douglass could have been like, look, hey, I'm gonna just get up here and be like, I'm free. Y'all be great over there. You know what I mean? It's that mentality of I am connected. We are truly being like, I am my brother's keeper. It's not a question. Am I my brother's keeper? I am my brother's keeper. I don't have a choice right now. Again, you go out and act a fool right now, that's going to happen. Not because we both live in Houston, not because age bad, not because any other things that we do in common. Is because of something that we had nothing to do in it. We just happen to be born black.
Yeah.
And are we going to lean into it?
Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that? What happened on the news? Was he black? Yeah, damn. Like that right there. Was he black?
For
yeah,
sure.
He was black. Damn. Yeah, he was black. No, I feel like that every time. Whenever you hear about somebody crashing out on the news, or like somebody doing like some mass murder stuff, the first question I ask is, was he black?
And is that person, if they are, and I know this is a whole, just a change of perspective, a cultural change, right? I was talking to some friend that just came back from Japan, and they were like, man, it's just amazing. The culture is being clean, and the culture is cleaning up after yourself. The culture is this. You can have millions of people that can get on board for something that humans arguably naturally don't want to do. People, I feel like, are just nasty, and chaos is, the norm. But you can change a culture and make sure people are thinking, hey, if I crash out, if I'm tripping, does this have an impact on my family? Does this have an impact on my neighbors? Does this have an impact on other people? And that's, I think, how it used to be. But now everybody wants to act like they have no responsibility, no connectivity, no accountability for their actions having an impact on other people.
Japan used to be crazy, like back in the day. They was on 10. Like,
I'm just talking about cleanliness.
But I'm saying, like, as far as like, the one thing about them Asian countries is they have no issue getting you in line in whatever way they feel like you need to be in line. Whether they need to hit you,
for sure.
Whether they need to hit you, they need to take one of your limbs from you, they need to put you in a hole, or they make you sit in a room and write a letter 100 times a day. They gonna get you right. Now, I think that black people are big empaths, just at heart. Like, we care a lot, right? Like, that's why we have so many like angry black men who resort to violence, because they're so emotional and they don't know what to do with their emotions but be violent. That's why that manifests itself that way, because we don't really talk about how we feel, and there's not many safe spaces for us as men to be able to let that go.
Yeah, you can't be on watch 24/7 and not start to lose your mind. We somehow isolated and trying to, man.
It's a tough deal, man. But I will agree with him. I do agree with him that Japan is one of the cleanest places I ever been. It's also one of the quietest places I ever been.
Yeah,
it's eerie. Like, they don't need, like, we used to get out of school and like go to the train, like you wouldn't even know that there was people like walking behind you until they just like got up on you like this. You wouldn't even know they so quiet. They got on headphones, they listening to music, but I've never heard like a Japanese lady just like singing a song at the bus stop.
Yeah.
Like never. Like, and I lived there for 2 years and I rode the train a lot. And I never heard somebody like singing a song just like out in public, like loud, like you would here. Or even like them, like now I would see some hip hop dance teams and stuff like that, but they were like over off in the corner, like getting it, like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
Like, but they had practice, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, this is not every day.
He's not like, bro, just not at the bus stop. Like, you know, you be riding down Scott and it'll just be at the guy at the bus stop, like
with no music. You be like,
yeah, no, like he just you don't really see that level of self expression. But I do think that has a lot to do with the history of the country and like just how much more strict they are socially in those far east countries than we are here, especially like in the black community. We claim to be like super
I'm just saying it can be
strict.
done. That's all I'm saying.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I don't too many like like in our community, like we men try to act like we be running stuff, but the women they in control, and like them sisters they not having that. They not having that, especially with them babies. They not having that. They not having it. Like,
No, I mean, I'm with you. I'm just saying we gotta try something different. Worst case scenario, we just gotta try something different. Right now, until somebody starts coming up with some sort of ideas or different approaches, I'm just like, y'all,
we gotta do something different. And I think that in the next coming years, we're gonna see that a new way of organizing, a new way of politics is gonna be coming into the fold. I am excited to see what's gonna happen in our municipal elections. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen in the mayor's race. They said that they can pay themselves back now with raising that money, which is
there's a couple of folks, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, competition's always good, but at the same time, I don't know, man. Everybody's raising $1 million and soaking every penny out of the city, and now we can't uplift or promote other folks. And I don't know, man. I think they're right. That's one of those. Stay tuned until next time, because I don't. There's some matchups I don't want to see because I just don't think it's going to do anything but hurt black folks. We already been divided. Whether you were team Amanda or Christian, or your team Christian Al, or your team Amanda SJL, or your team we've just decided we're just going to do as much fracturing as possible. For why?
I mean, that's because the OGs at the top, they what I'm saying, this is what they have ordained. That's the culture here. That's the culture.
Death and destruction.
That is the culture. That is the culture here. The culture here is put them niggas in the gauntlet and let them fight.
Right. And the results have been where I live, all of Northeast Houston has been neglected for
food deserts,
a while.
A lack of public school funding, a lack of healthcare options, a lack of like social options.
Elected, but like, man, I don't know. I'm gonna be on people's heads. I can tell you that. If it's up to me, they just don't even ask me. Don't even come on the radio show. I'm gonna be asking you some questions. Like, bro, I don't want to hear the usual talking points or whatever. Like, we're gonna have to do more than. This is not like a dig on Mayor Turner, RIP, but we need more than potholes and stuff like that. We need you to be intentional, like you said, about areas of the city that historically have been neglected, continue to be neglected. And I get city council, they have votes and all that other jazz, but there is a way to get stuff done. They talk about seem like when Mom Donnie has the easy button and he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's just do that. That's easy. Can somebody please find the easy button for east of Maine? Just for everybody else.
Well, we're gonna have to work on this strong mayor government and see if we can get some more flexibility in our government works. Because unless I'm saying, we got a serious moderate at the helm of the city of Houston. unless we can find somebody that is going to be willing to piss off the ruling consulting and development class, we not get
I'm just not okay with it. But I
yeah,
hear
we
you.
not get we not
I'm not
getting that.
okay with it, but I hear you.
We're not getting that. Oh well, look, man, this has been great. I did not get to ask you questions about probate, but I
I'm about to say
will.
we ain't even talk about none of the stuff on script for real. We just look.
Now,
I
you
know
know,
John.
I'm not gonna lie. I do this every time.
Yeah. This was
Do this.
basically like our ride back from Corpus. He said, if y'all wanted to know what it was like riding back from Corpus, this was it, just shooting the breeze and different political perspectives, kind of with the same goal. It's just first off, one foot in front of the other, progress, and then the question is just which way do we go to get to something better than what we got now?
Yeah. I spent all of this time. I spent all this time putting these damn notes together, and I never used them. But one day, just in case, I'm gonna need them. So practice makes perfect. But also, it does help. It does help.
Absolutely.
Thank the Lord. This is episode 39. I've done this 39 times
Hey, man, that's a
consecutively.
blessing.
Yeah, man, because I usually don't keep up with shit. But I'm keeping on and I'm keeping on. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. I think we had a very, very informative and riveting conversation. I hope everybody learned something. If you have not already, my brother's Instagram handle is scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. If you or anybody that you know has a loved one that has some estate issues, or they need a probate, and they need to go into probate, they need a will, maybe your grandma need to get her stuff together, your granddaddy, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, anybody that has any property, money, cars, jewelry, and they're trying to get ready for when they're going to pass on, please reach out to my brother. You can find him on Instagram. You can also find him at the office of the probate administrator here in Harris County. And he is going to help you make sure that you do not lose the family house.
Yeah, man. At least get people going. Get right. You don't know what you don't know. So my goal is to just get us. At least they know what questions to Google. We hopefully everybody will become experts. But right now, if we can just get people knowing what to look at and what not to look at, that's a step in the right direction.
So if those of you who are watching, I know most of my viewers are between the age of 25 and 34. Most of you have elder parents. If your parents do not have a will, if your parents do not have a plan for their estate, if y'all is thinking that you're going to have to put a GoFundMe together when Grandma Willie died, please reach out to my boy Brandon Cofield. If you live in Harris County, if you do not live in Harris County, reach out to Brandon. I'm sure he will be able to direct you to a professional who will be able to help you and your family plan and make those decisions so that you can take care of the generational wealth that you have accumulated. We don't want to concede any dollars to the other team.
Yeah, man. We yeah. Unforced errors. I'm about to say it didn't took so much. We don't need to make it no easier. So.
Yeah, we don't want to give it up. We don't want to give it up. But I do want to give it up for my main man. You know what I'm saying? The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brandon Cofield.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate it.
I hope everybody learned something. I hope you laugh. You know what I'm saying? I hope you felt the love. Maybe ain't nothing you can do about it. We here every Thursday at 7 o'clock. This is Politics of Pan. Although my mama named me Christian, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
We out of here, man. Hold on. I'm sorry. Brandon.
You.
I got carried away. Is there anything you would like to say?
Man, shit, I think I left it all on the field. Man, nothing in particular, man. I'm hoping that if nothing else, folks, man, get a chance, at least just hear some different perspectives and just start talking about stuff that matters. There's plenty of other foolishness out there, but we can't keep doing the same thing we've been doing. So that's kind of it. Man. That's my only part message, man. My actually, I would say this because my dad's sign off is always the late Vernon John. Man, if you see a good fight, get in it. And then he always said, I add, if you don't see one, start one. And so, man, just encouraging folks, man, hey, do something, get in a fight, man. Go ahead and, test your mettle and do some good on behalf of, all of us.
And that's good words from the wise Reverend, the Reverend D.C. Cofield, the legend over there off of South McGregor. Shout out to Good Hope Missionary Baptist Church. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Blackness. Shout out to yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the kids. Tell the wife I said hello.
Will do.
It's been amazing. We out.
All right, brother.